Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, students. I hope you are all fine and healthy. Take care of yourself and your families. Now, let us begin with the lecture. In the last presentation, we started the text of first year at Harrow with the following SLOs. I do not need to repeat them. It's the same as in the past lecture. We have started reading the text, and Winston Spencer Churchill has so far shared his experience regarding the examinations that he took. He's still discussing it, and we will find out more about it in the upcoming reading. So far, so we know that the author was a brilliant politician. He was also a brilliant writer, and his work got him recognition in the form of Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953. So far, so we know that he was 12 years old when he entered Harrow. Harrow, as you all know, is a school. I already told you that the two universities, Oxford and Cambridge, were based on religious philosophies, that is Catholic and Protestant Church. Harrow belonged to one university and Eton to another. So far, so we know that he didn't do well in examinations. But even after a disaster of a Latin paper, he was able to get admission due to the, what should I say, the discernment and the knowledge, the skills of Dr. Weldon, or the headmaster of Harrow, who allowed him to take admission in the school. Now we all know that his exam was not good, so that's why he was in the third or lowest division of the fourth or bottom form. So he was very low at the bottom list. From here onwards, we will continue the reading again. So let us start. Churchill says, the names of the new boys were printed in the school list in alphabetical order. You must understand the alphabetical order. And as my correct name, Spencer Churchill, began with an S, I gained no more advantage from the alphabet than from the widest pair of letters. I was, in fact, only two from the bottom of the whole school. And these two, I regret to say, disappeared almost immediately through illness or some other cause. Now, I want you to understand something regarding the English culture. His complete name was Winston Spencer Churchill. Winston was his first name. Now, first names are usually an informal way of recognition. It's the middle name, that is Spencer, which is usually taken as a formality and usually used by others as well while writing the name. And Churchill, basically the family name, is used in higher official documents. So that's why he was known as Churchill or Mr. Churchill or something like that. But his real name, Winston Spencer Churchill, was in alphabetical order, started from S. Spencer Churchill, comma, Winston. The first name came at the end. You must have noticed it in textbooks or academic research papers as well. The first name of the author is never used. It is the middle name or the last name that is used. So Churchill's name was Spencer in school diary or register or whatever the record form was. So his name came with an S. Now if you look at the alphabetical orders, A, B, C, D, S comes quite at the end of English language as an alphabet. So the S didn't give him any advantage. He already failed or did badly in the examination. So even the S or the big name could not save him. So S, because of this, he was third from the bottom. And after some time, the two students who were behind him, they also left the school due to some other reasons, because they were not satisfied with the result, or they were not satisfied with the admission results. So that's why Spencer was the last man or the last student on the list. I continued in this unpretentious situation for nearly a year. However, by being so long in the lowest form, I gained an immense advantage over the cleverer boys. They all went on to learn Latin and Greek and splendid things like that, but I was taught English. We were considered such dunces that we could learn only English. Now, unpretentious situation. Unpretentious means that he was not considered someone who was well known, who was hidden, who was not on the charts, who was not in the middle. He was at the edges, he was hidden. He was studying with the students who were learning only English, and he gained an advantage. He says he took an advantage of it because he was able to learn English as opposed to the boys who were learning the major subjects, that is Greek and Latin. Uh, he says, and very humorously he narrates, that we were considered such dunces. Dunces means stupid, foolish, even you can say donkeys, that they could only learn English. They were only capable of learning English. This also applies in modern era as well. In private schools and major universities, when you go for an admission, usually for specialization, even at the higher levels, when you go for the entrance exams, the school, after the entrance examination result, may recommend you for admission, but they can also give a recommendation that you should not take admission in this class, you will be at the lower class. For example, if you are shifting school, sometimes you must have heard that a child left one school to go to another, a better school. There he was supposed to take admission in 7th class, but the school said that because of his low performance in the test, he was given admission at the 6th class. Similar is the case in higher education. You go to a university for, let us suppose, I can give you example of NAML, that is National University of Modern Languages, Islamabad. If you go there for admission at master's level in English literature or linguistics, if you do not do well in the entrance exam, they would recommend to you that you should do a foundation certificate of 3 months or 6 months with respect to English literature or English language. So for 6 months or for 3 months, you are supposed to take another course. After the course, you will again take the test, and if you are able to pass the test as per the standards, you will get admission in the master classes. So that is how things run, and things ran with Churchill as well. He was not given admission in the class or in the level or form that he wanted. He was given admission if in another class or another form which was at the bottom and which were not recognized that much, because they were just in learning English, they were not learning any major subject. Now, here Churchill mentions a very important character of the story apart from Mr. Weldon, that is Mr. Somerville. He was a most delightful man. As far as Churchill has a high praise for Mr. Somerville, to whom my death is great, was charged with the duty of teaching the stupidest boys the most disregarded thing, namely to write mere English. Now here, Churchill is humorous as well as a bit angry, as well as a bit patriotic towards his language. He's praising his teacher, Mr. Somerville, that he was given the duty to teach them English, and he calls it the most disregarded thing. The most disregarding thing. Now, students, you do the same with respect to your own language, that is Urdu, or your own subjects like Islamiyat or Pak studies and even English as well, because you consider them subjects which are simple, you can disregard them, you will pass easy, you can attain any position that you want in these subjects, you will get marks whatever you do. But the problem is that these subjects are also necessary part of your education, and you need them. You do not need to disregard them or disrespect them. You need them. You need to give them the reputation, the recognition that it deserves, because of the communication skills that you need to develop while you are communicating with someone outside or in a professional environment. If you do not know how to communicate effectively, it will not do you good. So Churchill says that the most disregarded thing was namely to write in mere English. Now, as Urdu is our national language, we know that it is simple, we know how to write it, but no, it is not that simple. If it were that simple, then there wouldn't have been any Urdu department in our college. Urdu wouldn't have been a subject. If Islamic studies were that simple, there wouldn't have been any Islamic studies teacher here. If Pak studies or even English were here, there wouldn't have been any need of these subjects to be taught at school level or college level. But they are necessary, they are mandatory. So here Churchill is basically a bit angry, and as I told you in the introduction, he was a bit patriotic regarding English. He won literature, Nobel Prize for Literature because of his writings, and his writings were all in the English language. So he knew how to do it. He taught it as no one else had ever taught it. Not only did we learn English parsing thoroughly, but we also practice continually English analysis. Mr. Somerville had a system of his own. Now he is admiring the teaching abilities of his teacher, the way he taught them, the way he divided the sentence for them, the way he made them analyze the sentence. We also do the same when we are doing the grammar section, when we are doing the parts of speech, when we are doing the grammar of Urdu as well. So Mr. Somerville was very highly praised by Churchill. He took a fairly long sentence and broke it up into its components by means of black, red, blue, and greenings. Subject, verb, object, relative classes, conditional classes, conjunctive and disjunctive classes. Each had its color and its bracket. It was a kind of a drill. We did it almost daily. As I remained in the third, fourth, 3 times as long as anyone else, I had 3 times as much of it. Now here we come to know that Churchill was not a brilliant student. He was neither dull, but he was very biased towards the major subjects, that was Greek and Latin. And he had to spend 3 years consecutively in the lowest forms. And here he was taught English. Now 3 times he was taught the same thing by Mr. Somerville, and that is, according to him, the most disregarded thing, that is the merely English language or English. And now what Mr. Somerville did, he took a fairly long sentence. He took large sentences because they knew the basic grammar. Then he would write the sentences with various inks, that is red, black, red, blue, and green inks. And then he would identify the parts of speech or the sentences or the phrases or the clauses that we are going to study ahead. We did the parts of speech, but we are still behind as far as the clauses and phrases are concerned. But he would divide these clauses, conditional clauses, relative clauses, conjunctive and disjunctive clauses, and he would paint them with various colors. This was a kind of drill. It was a kind of practice that they used to do daily. So either it was the color or the brackets, and the students will know that what Mr. Somerville is talking about. So it was a daily routine, it was done daily, and Churchill says that he had to spend 3 years in the lowest form, so he had the advantage of gaining 3 times the knowledge as opposed to everybody else. यानी 3 गुना उसके नॉलेज में इजाफा हुआ. 3 दफ़ा चूँकि उसने उस चीज़ को पढ़ा, उस चीज़ को प्रैक्टिस किया, मिस्टर समरवेल से पढ़ा उसने, इस वजह से चर्चिल को इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज का जो बेसिक कंसेप्ट था, जो लैंग्वेज का बेसिक कंसेप्ट था, वो 3 गुना ज़्यादा हासिल हुआ. बिकॉज 3 साल गुजारना एक ही स्टैंडर्ड में, ये भी एक वो है, ज़ाहिर सी बात है 3 दफ़ा एक चीज़ को पढ़ा जाए तो वो ज़्यादा बेहतर याद होती है। और यहाँ ये भी शो करता है कि चर्चिल वाज मोर इंटरेस्टेड इन इंग्लिश रादर देन द मेजर सब्जेक्ट्स। I learned it thoroughly. Thus, I got into my bones the essential structure of the ordinary British sentence, which is a noble thing. And when in after years my school fellows who had won prizes and distinction for writing such beautiful Latin poetry and pithy Greek epigrams had to come down to again to common English to earn their living or make their way, I did not feel myself at any disadvantage. अब वो कहता है, he says that he learned the English language 3 times as much as compared to everybody else. Now, years passed. Student life से he was now entering the professional life. जो डिस्टिंक्शन होल्डर्स थे जिन्होंने लैटिन में पोइट्री लिखी थी या ग्रीक के पाइथी मीन्स ब्रीफ एपिग्राम्स कोटेशंस, ये पाइथी ग्रीक एपिग्राम्स उन्होंने लिखे थे, तो वो फिर क्या हुआ कि दे हैड टू कम डाउन टू कॉमन इंग्लिश. एंड व्हाट वाज द एडवांटेज ऑफ कॉमन इंग्लिश? बिकॉज इन द रियल वर्ल्ड ही हैड टू यूज द लैंग्वेज फॉर हिज प्रोफेशनल करियर. Now I mentioned in the previous lecture that you need both these languages, that is English and Urdu, for your professional communication. Even if you are presenting something, if you are going for a job interview, if you are going abroad, if you are doing something else, you need those two languages for effective communication. If your communication skills are not good, then you cannot be effective. So Churchill says that he was not at a disadvantage because he knew the English language very, very well, as opposed to the Latin or Greek learners, because when they left the university or left the school, they had to come back to the basic language, that is the English language, for communication. And because living and earning in English or United Kingdom was not possible without the language, and that is the English language. Naturally, now here Churchill clarifies his whole essay. I am biased in favor of boys learning English. I will make them all learn English, and then I will let the clever ones learn Latin as an honor and Greek as a treat. But the only thing I would whip them for would be not knowing English. I would whip them hard for that. Now Churchill says that he loves the English language learners who will learn English. He is biased. Biased means कि उनकी तरफ उसका झुकाव है, यानी वो उनको सपोर्ट करता है. इसके मामले में अगर उसको जज बनाया जाए ना, इस मामले में कि कौन कौन सी लैंग्वेज लर्न कर रहा है, तो जो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज लर्न कर रहा होगा तो उसके बारे में चर्चिल ये कह रहा है कि ही वुड नॉट अपोज हिम, ही वुड रादर बी बायस्ड टूवर्ड्स हिम, यानी उसके फेवर में ही डिसीजन जाएगा. नो, यहाँ पे एक और पॉइंट भी क्लियर होता है that he is not against students who are learning Latin or Greek. He says he will make them learn Latin or Greek, but Latin as an honor and Greek as a treat. यानी वो उनके एजाज़ात होंगे सीखने के, कि एक ऑनर के तौर पर, रिस्पेक्ट के तौर पर या ट्रीट के तौर पर उनको ये लैंग्वेजेस सिखाई जाएंगी. लेकिन इंग्लिश के बारे में चर्चिल लास्ट लाइन्स में जो है वो बिल्कुल वो कहता है मैं कंप्रोमाइज़ नहीं करूँगा. और व्हाट डज ही से? बट द ओनली थिंग आई वुड विप देम फॉर, कि जिस बात पे मैं उनको विप करूँगा. विप का मतलब घोड़े के लिए जो चाबक नहीं इस्तेमाल होती, वो उसको विप कहते हैं, कि वो विप करूँगा यानी चाबक मारूँगा यानी पीटूँगा उनको. दैट वुड बी नॉट नोइंग इंग्लिश, यानी इंग्लिश ना जानते हुए, यानी अगर उनको इंग्लिश ना आती हुई तो उनकी खैर नहीं. उनको जैसे घोड़ों को मारा जाता है ना, विप किया जाता है दौड़ाने के लिए, इसी तरह इन बच्चों को विप किया जाएगा. आई वुड विप देम हार्ड फॉर दैट. और इस बेसिक लैंग्वेज ना सीखना, बेसिक कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स को ना सीखना, इसकी बदौलत क्या होगा? मैं इनको ठीक ठाक विप करूँगा, यानी आई वुड विप देम हार्ड फॉर दैट. इसमें कोई रहम की तवक्को ना करे. So this is the text, and dear students, you have studied it now. Now there are some difficult words in it. I do hope that you have consulted the vocabulary section in your textbooks. I do hope your textbooks were with you when I was reading this lecture. I do hope that you have understood the main theme now. It's twofold theme, examination system versus language. ये दो तरह की बातों पे चर्चिल फोकस कर रहा है. एक तो कहता है एग्जामिनेशन सिस्टम में थोड़ी सी इम्प्रूवमेंट आए, और दूसरा वो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, और इंग्लिश पे सबसे ज़्यादा उसका फोकस है. तो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज जो है उसका जो चाह है, वो जो अपनी मतलब मादरी ज़ुबान से, उसके बारे में चर्चिल वो कर रहा है. अच्छा, यही चीज़ आप उर्दू पे अप्लाई करें, यही चीज़ आप यहाँ पे जिनको आप आर्ट्स के सब्जेक्ट कहते हैं उन पे अप्लाई करें, कि यानी आप उनको बहुत डिसरिगार्ड करते हैं और ये चीज़ अच्छी नहीं है. आप इवन यहाँ देख लीजिए कि जितने भी आपके प्रोफेशनल्स हैं यहाँ पे, टीचर्स हैं या हायर ऑफिसर्स हैं, वो बेसिक लैंग्वेज के बग़ैर आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते, और बेसिक लैंग्वेज उनकी होती है तभी वो आपसे कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. ठीक है, उस लैंग्वेज के बग़ैर वो आगे नहीं बढ़ पाए. जो आजकल का जो यंगस्टर्स हैं या यंगर जनरेशन है, वो या तो ज़्यादातर इंटरनेट लैंग्वेज से मुतासिर है, या फिर उनकी जो लैंग्वेज है वो इंतहाई इनफॉर्मल है, इफ़ेक्टिव नहीं है कम्युनिकेशन में. सो यू हैव टू मेक योर लैंग्वेज कम्युनिकेशन वेरी इफ़ेक्टिव. यू हैव टू नो द ट्रेडिशंस, you have to know the skills, you have to know the manners in which a language is spoken, in which you should communicate your message to others. इसकी बेहतरीन मिसाल है जब आप लोग फ़ॉरेन के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं, ख़ुसूसन जो बच्चे अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं, फ़ॉरेन जाना चाहते हैं, तो आइल्स और टॉफल का कोर्स होता है. इस दौरान आपने एम्बेसीज़ में भी जाना होता है. यहाँ पे प्रॉपर पाकिस्तान में फिर यहाँ स्टूडेंट कंसल्टेंसीज़ हैं, और वहाँ पे बाकायदा इंटरव्यूइंग की बात होती है. हायर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में इवन आपका कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स का सब्जेक्ट है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, जिसमें इंटरव्यूइंग स्किल्स सिखाई जाती हैं, कि जब आपसे इंटरव्यू लिया जाएगा तो आपने हॉल में कैसे इंटर होना है, कैसे बैठना है. यही चीज़ अप्लाई होती है बाकी और भी काफ़ी इदारों में. जब आप CSS के एग्ज़ाम देते हैं तो इंटरव्यू में आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज को प्लस आपकी लैंग्वेज को देखा जाता है. इसी तरह जब आप ISSB में अप्लाई करते हैं तो जिस वक्त आपकी ग्रुप डिस्कशन और ऑफिसर्स के सामने इंटरव्यू होता है, वहाँ पे आपकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स बोथ इंग्लिश उर्दू प्लस आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज, इन चीज़ों को देखा जाता है. और इसकी बाकायदा ट्रेनिंग्स भी दी जाती हैं कि कैसे आपने इंटरव्यू देना है, कैसे अपने आप को कॉन्फिडेंट शो करना है. सो लैंग्वेज इज़ द की. चर्चिल यहाँ पे यही बात कर रहा है कि लैंग्वेज जो है, जिसको हम डिसरिगार्ड कर देते हैं, जो अपनी मतलब नेशनल लैंग्वेज है, जिसको हम बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं समझते और बाद में हमें फिर प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, तो बेहतर है कि हम उसके ऊपर मुकम्मल कमांड एंड कंट्रोल रखें. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट आई थिंक व्हाट चर्चिल वांटेड टू से. आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द थीम. आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज़ द प्रैक्टिकलिटी एंड इम्पॉर्टेंस ऑफ language, particularly English and Urdu languages, as far as Pakistani context is concerned. So if you have any questions, you can ask, and I would appreciate if you ask the questions in the comment section. Thank you very much.